fucking take my jumper off when I'm doing this or something. Maybe another time. Right, I think we're going. Right, okay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Virtual Racers Club. It's a Sunday night. How's everybody's Sundays been? Mine's been dead. Damn you, Formula One, and your stupid times. But there we go. So, yes, hello, good evening, and we hope you've had a wonderful Sunday. And I am back for round 3. Only this time we are in the Renault Megane trophies for round 3. So, what is the Renault Megane trophy? You may be asking yourself, you may not. You may have been here before, who's no telling. But the Renault Megane trophy, or the RMT for short, is a one-make championship using the excellent Renault Megane Trophy Group 4 exclusively. Drivers will battle hard, going wheel to wheel in 2 feature races for 10 weeks. Drivers will need to use a mandatory medium compound at some point over the 2 races, so we'll need to select carefully which race to use the slower tyre. Overall, there are 10 rounds to this championship. They've had a 10-minute qualifier, and then they will have a 30-minute feature race, with the first race being fastest in qualifying. It was a standing start, and then the second race will be a reverse grid from the previous race, which will also be a standing start. So they've done all their qualifying. They'll be right behind me. I certainly hope so. They were there last time I checked. So should we have a look at the table and see that's working out? Oh, hang on a second. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I'm having one of those days. So anyway, let's have a look at the table after 2 rounds. And so far, in first place is Guesty with 62 points. So, who's going to be mounting a challenge to him? And in second is Homesick Alien on 56 points. So there's only 6 points between himself and Guesty. And not far behind him is Racer Brown on 55 points. So there is literally 7 points separating the top 3 at the moment. So, already heating up in this early stages of the championship. Fourth place is Ensign Hewitt on 49 points, so there's not much behind him with Jose Alien either, so it could go either way at the moment with it being so early in the championship, but that's how we like it, isn't it? In fifth place we have Bazza on 48 points, just 1 point behind Big Dan, or Ensign Hewitt, so that's one rivalry we'll be heating up and looking forward to. In sixth place is Mrs. Guesty on 42 points. In seventh place is Perchon on 40 points. So not much between himself and Mrs. Guesty. That's likely to heat up perhaps maybe today. In eighth place we have Rido on 33 points. In ninth place is Bunny on 32 points, although he did miss the last round. So he'll be looking to make up some lost ground that he's made up there. In 10th place is Pat on 29 points. In 11th place is Silver Star on 20 points, but he missed the first round, so he's a little bit behind some people at the moment, but it can be forgiven. In 12th place we have Skyjacker on just 6 points, but he missed the last round and he didn't get much out of round 1, so he might have some catching up to do. In 13th place, we have Norkis, who hasn't shown up for either, and VRC Harv on 14th, who also hasn't shown up. So, we're on to round 3. The championship is heating up already, and as you can see, we are at Laguna Seca. I have a bit of a mixed liking for this track. I do sort of like it, but there's just one corner I'm never, ever happy with, and you can look at the map here. It's always just that corner there. Oh, that one. I can never... Is it that one? No. Hang on, where's this? Yeah. Oh, I think it might be that one, actually. Oh, going the wrong way. Zoom out that one. That one right there. It seems to hate me for some reason. I can never always get it right. So I wonder if the guys out here today have managed to tame that corner. It is quite a mild corner, but for some reason I can just never get it right for some reason. A little insight to my life, if you will. So, after 10 minutes of qualifying, how have they lined up? And here they are in this beautiful, glorious American sunshine. Beautiful. Probably quite hot as well. I'm not a big fan of heat. So let's have a look and see how they have lined up. So on pole, we can see that it is Racer Brown taking first blood in round 3 already and wanting to make headway in his championship battle with Homesick Alien and Guesty. And speaking of the Alien, in second is Homesick Alien. So, not much ground between these two to start with, and you just know that these two are going to absolutely duke it out all the way here. This is going to be very interesting to see. In third, the championship leader at the moment, Guesty, not wanting to give much away in his title fight against his two rivals in front of him. So, even the top 3 are going to be duking it out. Who's going to come out on top of that one? I can't wait to see that. Then in fourth, we have Big Dan making good headway in his championship fight with Bazza. So, I don't know where Bazza's lined up for this one. So, Big Dan lining up in fourth. And speak of the devil, it is the Bazza in fifth. Wow, this is really, really tight at the moment. The top contenders are all literally one behind another. So, this is going to be a very interesting fight nonetheless. He was fit, no, 1, 3, 4, 5, yeah, second, third, fourth, fit in fifth. Right, okay. I'm not very good at this, am I? No, you're not. Oh dear. Right, in sixth we have, that is Rito. So, Rito looking to make up headway in his championship fight. This is going to be interesting. In seventh, that is Mrs. Guesty. So, she's done quite well to get out midway, should we say? Yeah, I'd say pretty much midway, so she's done well there. Then in eighth, I believe, is Silver Star. Can he make headway in his championship and get him ahead of some of his rivals today? It's going to be interesting to see. In ninth, we have Perchon. So not looking good at the back here at the moment in his mid-table battle, but can he make the advantage pay in his favour today? I don't know. We'll have a look at the tyres before we set off, so I remember that one. And then in last we have Pat. So it's all looking as it is near enough in the championship table, so this is definitely going to heat up. Let's see how this all pans out. So we'll jump out, and then as we get rid of this, we can see that Racer Brown is on the medium, so he's getting rid of the mandatory tyre early, getting it out the way. So is Homesick Alien, he's also on the mediums. Guesty as well on the mediums, so the top three championship contenders, all on the mediums. And then we've got Big Dan in the softs, so far the only one. Can he make a big dent in those top 3? So is Bazza, also on the softs as well. All the title rivals at the moment are all matching each other for tyres, so that's going to be pretty interesting to see. Rito on the mediums, he's getting the mandatory tyre out the way early, as Mrs. Guesty, and Silver Star's gone for the softs, so he's looking to make headway at the early start. Perchon is on the mediums, he's getting it out the way, and so is Pat, so not many soft runners already, so they're saving it all for the second race. So this is going to be interesting to see how this all pans out. Let's have a look and see how we get on. So we'll reverse it back to the start, and let's get these guys underway. So we have 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and off we go, and it's a slow and steady start, but Racer Brown looks like he's managed just to squeeze up a little bit of gap of Homesick Alien, and Big Dan is coming through already into third, overtaking Guesty, making headway with those softs already. looking to make some bit of clattering, bit of paint trading. We don't know that here. We do it off the track, and he's dropping for some reason. That looks like Guesty going wide, as well as I think it might have been Bazza. Yes, it was Bazza that went off wide as well. So not the best to start for him, and not the best to start for Guesty. He doesn't want this in his championship fight, so he'll be looking to make up some places and get back to fighting it out with Racer Brown and Homesick Alien. But so far, Homesick Alien and Racer Brown already duking it out. These two are going to go at it like absolute titans, and Renault is up into third already. He's probably the biggest gainer at the moment, and he'll be, whoa, big slide there, just catching the outside of the tyre, but he's doing well. He's having a look at Homesick Alien. Homesick Alien's got the inside, looking to defend, coming up to this corkscrew, and Renault's done it, but he's going to have, and he's just got the outside. There's a bit of clattering, and he's ran into Homesick Alien. That's not what Homesick Alien needs now, and Racer Brown is going to take advantage of this and just disappear into the distance, while his title rivals have all had a small coming together and gone. That was Renault going wide, but he doesn't want that much neither. So Big Dan has now moved up into second. There's a little bit of trading paint there. That's didn't seem too issue there. And here comes Homesick Alien looking to make up lost ground after that little coming together at the corkscrew. Is he going to have a look at Big Dan going up the inside? He hasn't quite got the speed to have a look on the inside. Big Dan just drifting wide at the moment. He's looking to protect the outside so he can be on the inside, but he's still defended well. And that's Silver Star up into fourth. Wow, where has he come from? He's taking advantage of all these guys going off left, right and centre, and he's up into fourth. Can he capitalise on this? Can he take advantage? At the moment, there's a small gap between himself, Homesick Alien, and Bazza, so as long as he keeps his head down, he should be alright. And Bazza's moved up as well, because he was last after the first corner, after going wide, touching the sausage there. You don't want to be touching that, because that will send you into the Nether Realm. Perchon in sixth as well. He's had a pretty good start. That's what he needs to keep him fighting in his own championship fight with all his rivals around him. Mrs. Guesty as well in seventh. I think she's probably dropped one place from the start, so even Stevens for her at the moment. Pat has moved up from last into eighth. That's good for him. Renault there as well, and Guesty has severely dropped. This is not what Guesty needs. He must be absolutely livid. I've been so far away from the others at the moment, but now he's just got to. We got a yellow flag. It's Silver Star. Is it Silver? Yes, it was Silver Star. He was in fourth at one point. Poor Silver Star must have lost the back end at some point, and he's not going to be happy with himself either, but he keeps his head down, just doesn't lose his cool, and hope and pray that other people have offs themselves. They'll be able to catch back up. So back at the front, Racer Brown having a comfortable lead already over Big Dan, who has got a mirror full of Homesick Alien. Well, Homesick Alien, we know what he's like. He's the master tactician. He'll just be biding his time. He'll be saving his, well, I don't think he'll be saving his fuel, but he'll be saving his tyres and using all the grip he can get when he needs it most. You might know, though, Big Dan as well is on the softs, so he might be expecting them to wear out and then take full advantage of it. So at the moment, Big Dan holding his own against Homesick Alien. We'll have to see how that pans out later on. Then there's a gap between back from Homesick Alien and Bazza, who is on the sauce as well, so those sauce will wear out very quickly, so he'll need to make up some ground between himself and Perchon, so that when the tyres die out, he's got some room to play with, because Perchon is on the medium, so he'll be perfectly fine for the majority of this race. It's all going to pan out later on in the laps, and Mrs. Guesty is having a look with Pat going through on the inside. A beautiful move from Pat, clean as you like, beautifully done. Pat moving up into sixth. He's making some headway. There's a little bit of mishing and bashing between Renault and Mrs. Guesty. Oh no, Pat's gone wide. The curse has kicked in again. I must stop using such compliments, because every time I seem to do, the drivers just seem to just say no, not having any of that, and go wide. But Silver Star now has got his target on somebody as Pat goes wide at the moment. Those dirty tyres really struggling to find grip at the moment, and Silverstar able to capitalise. And oh, Pat's just gone wide at the moment. Silverstar's having a look on the inside. They've got through cleanly. Well done, chaps. But Guesty is making up for lost ground against these two, because he wasn't that far back from them to start with. So we know that Guesty is on the charge. So far, Racer Brown still holding the lead. Big Dan has still got a mirror full of Homesick Alien. Big Dan getting the fastest lap on the previous lap with a 28.0. Using the soft tyres to the absolute maximum. But he can't seem to shake the Alien. As we know, Big Dan can go through a set of tyres fairly quickly. So tyre management isn't one of his strongest traits, but if the stars align, he can be quick as you want and really give even the quickest racers a good challenge up at the front. And Homesick Alien can't seem to be able to make a move on Big Bazza. In fact, Big Dan, in fact, you can see he's just dropped back a little bit. Is this the tyres? Is this the tyre compensate? I can't say that one. Is this the tyre saving at work? Is he just looking after those mediums to help him keep going all the way to the end, to really take it to Racer Brown at the end of this race? Bazza as well in fourth. That was right. That was pretty well timed. It's a pity I can't do that again. But Bazza's got some clean space between himself and the front people in front of him and the guys at the back of him, so he'll be just keeping his cool now and bringing it home to fourth. That'll be a good result for him. Meanwhile, Rido has moved up into fifth, and he's got Perchon and Mrs. Guesty not that far behind him, so one small mistake from Rido or Perchon, and you know that Mrs. Guesty is going to take advantage of that. Can't be much more than a second or 2 seconds between them, so tight racing in the midfield in the early stages of this race. We're only 7 minutes in, and it seems that everybody's now just settled down, going into their groove, and are now just thinking, let's keep this thing pointing in the right direction and bring home some points. Perchon will probably be thinking the exact same thing, as well as Mrs. Guesty. And I think all three of these are on the medium, so it's all even Stevens. So it's all about skill and getting yourself in the right place to take advantage of any kind of speed that you can get out of these corners. But these Renault Meganes, the back ends are extremely tricky. And really on a knife edge, just too much acceleration coming out of the corners, and the back end will not like it. We'll have to keep an eye on these three and see how they get on later on. Silverstar at the moment still in 8th. He's managed to drop Pat, so he did get overtaken at some point, but he is on the soft, so he's still got the medium tyres to use up, which he'll probably use in the Rex race. I don't know if anybody's going to be pitting in this race. I'm not 100% sure. They are 8 minutes in, and his tyres are his front right. Probably used a good 30% of it at the moment, so he might be alright until the end of the race as long as he keeps looking after them. But don't forget, he is the tyre whisperer. He can make a set of tyres last a lot longer than most other people, and is he going to take advantage of that trait? I guess he's got him in front of Pat as well, so Pat unfortunately has dropped massively. Not quite sure, it was on the previous lap, he did a 1:47. Doesn't seem near any of the kind of pace that he has, so he must have had some kind of off. Poor Pat, now in a land of his own, but he can now use this as just a quick training session, just a little time trial, just to really trying to get used to this car on this kind of track, and hopefully he'll be able to come back for race 2. Still no change at the front though. Racer Brown has extended that lead over Big Dan. Racer Brown looking to get the business done early already. Let's see if we can do that skill again, although we kept in the same place. There we go, there goes Big Dan. Here comes Homesick Alien. There he goes, and Bazza is not that far behind him, so Bazza has got the fastest lap with a 27.6. Bazza on an absolute push, pushing that Megane as hard as he can. And now it's going to be Homesick Alien's turn to do all the defending, as he'll have a rearview mirror full of a Belgian bullet. And you've got to wonder is at what point is he going to release the Megane to really start bringing it home. Stretched out a little bit of a gap between himself and Bazza. He's obviously seen it incoming and thought, nope, I'm not having any of that, but we'll have to just keep his head down and make sure no mistakes happen, and Bazza will be in that same boat. He's on the soft tyre, so he's getting much more grip than the Alien. But can he use it to his advantage? Can he overtake the Alien? It's going to be interesting to see. You have Renault, he's managed to clear off Perchon, but Mrs. Guesty is in front of Perchon, so Mrs. Guesty managing to make a move on Perchon. I'm sorry that I've missed it, not unless it was a mistake from Perchon, in which if it was a mistake, I'm glad I did miss it, because we don't like to show mistakes, do we? Oh, no. No, we're all professionals here. We make it look nice and clean and crisp, and we don't show mistakes. And Guesty as well. Guesty has cleared Silver Star, so Guesty on an absolute push. He's losing ground to his championship rival. His grip on the top step at the moment is slipping away from him. But let's not forget there is still a second race to come, so Guesty will probably want to take advantage of that. Silver Star as well, down in ninth. He's got plenty of space in front of him, and Pat is a bit of a distance behind him, so he'll be just wanting to knuckle down, just try and get some points on the board. It's still night, so he's still going to get some more points than most other people. So, like I always say to him, yeah, you may be that far down, you might be a bit slower than the front runners, but if you still get points at the end of the day, that's still points in your championship fight with whoever you are fighting with. Pat as well, if he puts he's managing to find some pace. Let's have a look. They did a 1:32.1 the previous lap, and Silver Star did a 1:31.3. So Silver Star at the moment has all the cards. Is he going to be able to clear Pat enough in order to make sure that he gets to the end? He is on the softs, whereas Pat is on the mediums. So it's going to be a question of tyre wear, although Silver Star hasn't used that much more tyre compared to Pat, so that could be interesting at the end of the day. Still no change at the front though. Racer Brown just making it look as easy as you like, pulling an even bigger gap to Big Dan, and you can see that front right tyre is now starting to feel some punishment. We're 12.5 minutes in, so we've still got another coming up just shy of 17 minutes. No, just shy of 18 minutes. So just shy of 18, although we are coming up to 17 minutes, so they've got to go for another 17 minutes. So the question is, are the soft runners going to pit for a new fresh set of tyres that would help them in their fight and getting back up into the race pace, but they will be so far down. It's all a question about whether you want to take the gamble or not, and if you can make it work for you. Obviously Alien as well, he'll be knowing that as well. He's probably guessing that Bazza's Big Dan's tyres won't last much longer, and he's gone wide a little bit there. Not too issue, not a problem. Nothing that the Alien can't handle. Bazza as well. Bazza is on the sauce. Let's not forget that Big Dan and Bazza, there's only a handful of points separating the two of them, and they've gone an identical tyre strategy, although Bazza has managed to look after his front right a little bit better than Big Dan, so he may be able to par the pressure later on in the race to Big Dan when his tyres give up, because they're not going to last that much longer. So it would appear at the current moment that Bazza does have the advantage. And there's a huge gap back to Renault, but that's still not an issue in his world, as it just means that if he can bring it home in fifth, that's still going to be a decent amount of points for him for race one, and set him up nicely for race two when the softs go on. If he can make those softs last, he's going to be a threat. And as well, oh, we've got a bit of action here, and look who it is again. It's the couple, it's the Mr. and Mrs. Guesty fight again. We love to see it. Mrs. Guesty appearing, really having her hands full of Mr. Guesty, but pretty sure he's used to being behind Mrs. Guesty at some point. Giggity. But it's not what he needs right now. He'll be wanting to get in front of the wife so he can minimise the amount of damage that he's going to be losing. So it's damage limitation at the moment for Guesty, as they both have a look on the far outside. A little bit of a nudge there. That's not so. Oh no, that's Perchon. He's overcooked it going into the corkscrew. He's overcuts it a little bit, so that means he's going to drop Mr. and Mrs. Guesty. And wow, Guesty really flinging that Megane round, and using every width of the track to give him every little bit of advantage he can get, every little bit of speed that he can get his hands on. All this slow going in Guesty's world is not what he needs. He needs to be in front. He needs to be piling pressure on the guys in front of him, because he's got a championship to think about. This is Guesty going on the inside to defend the corner, but it looks like it's done deal. No, she's fighting back. She's fighting back. Whoa, there's fighting back here, but it looks like that Guesty managed to get a better launch out the corner. He's got the inside line, but she's holding it on the outside. Look at these two go side by side. Beautiful. And Guesty just manages to squeeze out in front of Mrs. Guesty. Gets a better drive out of that corner, and then that's it, all said and done. So Guesty having the better hand over the wife in this occasion. But the question is she going to come back and have another go at him? She always just went wide a little bit there, but not an issue. No, car's under control, and as you can see, he's just pulled out a little bit of a gap there. As you can see, they're not that far behind him, coming up to the corkscrew, and it's such a drop. It's so easy to lose the back end in these sort of cars. So easy to lose the back end in the corkscrew. You've got to feather it through so that you don't kick out. And as we can see, Mr. Guesty is now starting to pull a bit of a gap between himself and Mrs. Guesty. So now the next target for Guesty is Renault, but has he got enough time to catch up Renault? Perch on as well, recovering nicely from his little off in the corkscrew, but he doesn't want to be making too many mistakes like that, because otherwise Silverstar will be catching up to him. Silverstar's right front tyre now starting to feel the pain, but with 17 minutes in, he's done well to look after the softs for this long. So can he still make the softs work to his advantage to catch up Perch on? The gap appears to be the same for Pat in regards to the gap of Silverstar. Meanwhile, back at the front, Racer Brown still with a comfortable lead, and now we've got Homesick Alien in second now. Sorry I've missed that one, but Homesick Alien has obviously taken over Big Dan at some point, but is it a mistake on his behalf? I wouldn't think so, but that front right hand tyre is practically at death's door. Not much grip left in it. He's probably got about a lap's worth left, so my guess is that once again Homesick Alien playing the master strategist, waiting for the softs to wear out, and then took advantage of it when it was cream crackered. So now we can concentrate on going after Racer Brown, in which it's all been Racer Brown's, it's all been his court at the moment. He's controlling the pace. He's the one controlling the championship at the moment, with Guesty so far down, and this is going to help him and Homesick Alien catch up Guesty. And I have a feeling that if Guesty doesn't make very well in the second race, that one of these two is going to be leading the championship by the end of this. While Bazza still did Big Dan. Why do I keep getting these two reversed? It's because it starts with B, that's why. You better start with B. Big Dan holding off in third. Bazza's gone wide at the moment. Oh dear, but he has looked after his soft tyres fairly well, but now they'll be covered in dirt. Won't be giving him much grip now, and losing ground to Big Dan. That's not what he wants in his fight with Big Dan in the championship. So he won't be very happy with himself in that one. Renault as well in no man's land at the moment, all on his own, but doing what he needs to do to bring home the points. And Mrs. Guesty has gotten back in front of Guesty as well. I'm missing all the overtakes. Oh, what a poor job I seem to be doing today. I seem to be missing all the action whatsoever, but Mrs. Guesty has got back in front of the husband. This is going to hurt him no end. Racer Brown and Homesick Alien are going to be absolutely loving it. The main title rival is not having the best of day at all. Perch on as well, he's managed to catch up. I wonder if it's a mistake from Guesty. You can see he did a 1:35 in the previous lap, so it's somewhere out of his normal timing ratio, so he must have made some form of mistake Can Perchon take advantage of it by catching up Guesty and making Guesty's day even worse? Silver Star as well, he's also in no man's land, but he's still got quite a bit of tyre left in that front right, so he seems to be good to go. And come the second race, when he's using the mediums, he's going to have the most meat left on that tyre. Pat as well, he's probably used, he's used a fair amount of his racing mediums, so he may struggle with the softs in race 2. So has Homesick caught Racer Brown? No, he hasn't. So it's all for Racer Brown now. It's 10 minutes going. If they're able to just keep it in the right direction, it's going to be advantage Racer Brown. But let's not forget, for race 2, the grid is reverser. He will be last with Homesick in front of him, so Homesick will probably want to be taking advantage of that, and they will be on the sauce, so they will be in full tyre saving mode. It's going to be interesting how these two Titans battle out. Are they just going to go all hell for leather, or are they just going to conserve the tyres and give them the best fighting chance they have of getting back into the lead? Big Dan as well, that front right, dead, completely used up, but he's still got a little bit of a gap between himself and Bazza. So Big Dan knocking on the door of third place of the podium. As long as he can just keep it pointing in the right direction, he might be able to snatch third here. And Bazza, who still has a little bit of meat left on his front right tyre, could be posing a threat and could be knocking on that door of a podium if he's able to capitalise on what little grip he has left in that front right tyre and really start bringing it to Big Dan. Still Reno as well, still in no man's land. In fact, the nearest action we've got is back here with Perchon and Guesty, and oh my word, Guesty has dropped even more. He's now dropped behind Perchon, and it might be another mistake from the previous lap, a 1:36. So Guesty making an absolute hash of this race. He must be getting so frustrated being so far down. He's got a championship lead to think about. This is the pressure of getting to Guesty already. He is a VRC Series champion, so we know he's used to the pressure, but seeing it buckle today seems like quite the rarity indeed. No, Guesty he doesn't often make mistakes. They do happen, but not very often. And it appears today that the lucky stars aren't working for whatsoever, although he has already caught up Perchon, so we know he's quick. But he doesn't seem to be able to settle the Megane on. Perchon's gone wide. Oh dear me. Perchon must have lost the back end, and that's given Guesty the open door opportunity he needed to get in front of Perchon. So now he can carry on catching the wife and maybe trying to limit the damage as it's happening to him at the moment, which he won't definitely be happy with at all. And somebody stopped on the track. I can't see who it is. It might be Pat. Yep, it was Pat, unfortunately. So he's obviously lost it in that corner down there, because he was a lot closer to Silver Star than what he is now. So Pat, unfortunately, a little bit of hash of that corner, unfortunately. Poor chap. Well, he's been lapped by Racer Brown, so that's how much time he lost in it. But at the same time, Racer Brown is maintaining that lead over Homesick Alien. The Alien not able to gain much time on Racer Brown with 7 minutes left to go. Lost the tyre, and Racer Brown has just managed to save that little bit more of his front right hand tyre. So my guess is that at the moment Racer Brown on course for another win. Has he won many races in this series so far? I'm not 100% sure. Let's have a look. Yes, he has. He won race 2 at Road Atlanta, round 2. So this will be another win for Racer Brown to help him out in his championship. Oddly enough, it was Homesick Alien that won race 1 in round 2, so these two are pretty even Stevens at the moment. Racer Brown going into race 2 with the advantage. You have to feel that Guesty is going to drop considerably in that table, given that he's not having the best of races today as it is. Meanwhile, the gap is slowly decreasing, with Big Dan and Bazza hitting the sausages like that isn't going to help your cause there. Big Dan, You don't want to be making too many of those, because otherwise Bazza will be on you, and then you'll have a real fight on your hands there. I think the only tyre that's probably got anything left is his rear left tyre, because everything else is near enough cut. And same with Bazza, he's got he's got nothing left on his front right hand tyre now, but he's got a bit left on everything else. So it's all about, oh, he's gone wide a little bit, he doesn't need that. You don't need that. That's not going to be helping you out in your fight with Big Dan. But keeping himself composed and still bringing it to Big Dan. Meanwhile, we do have a fight. There's another one back. It is Guesty again. Oh my word! What is going on with Guesty today? He's probably not going to be the happy chappy as Perchon has gone through yet again. And Guesty down in 8th. This is going to be so infuriating for him. So infuriating. It looks like his grip on the championship lead is slipping away with every minute that passes, and with 5 minutes left he's going to have to do some serious driving to recover what little he's going to get in race 1. So race 2 will have to be the absolute performance of his life to keep him in fight with Racer Brown and Homesick Alien in his title fight. And speaking of, we've got, that's quite a gap there. Perchon has caught up with Mrs. Guesty. She made maybe a small mistake on the previous lap with a 1:34. So maybe that was the issue there. Maybe there was a bit of contact between Mr. and Mrs. Guesty. I don't know. I couldn't tell. I'm not going back, because otherwise I'll be here all day. So can Mrs. Guesty be able to hold off Perchon, and that's 6th place. This will help her out. That's a huge haul of points in her championship fights with everyone around her. But Perchon will be wanting something to say about that, because he is, in fact he is actually these two. They're actually fairly close together. There's only 2 points separating them. So these two having their own little championship fight, and it's going to be interesting how that pans out. And doesn't seem to be increasing nor decreasing. It seems to be a stalemate at the moment, but here comes Mr. Guesty again. How many times has he overtaken these two in this race? Must be getting quite sick of it personally, seeing always getting in front of these two, just having a small issue through a corner and then having to do it all over again. Poor Guesty, just not having the best race so far. I do feel for him. I know what those days are like. Silverstar has managed to decrease the gap a bit, but he's got no tyre left, but there's only 3 minutes, so we don't think he's going to be able to interfere with the 3 in front of him. As you can see, there isn't much between them now. This appears to be the only fight on the circuit so far, so we'll watch these three, should I say. Let's watch these 3 duke it out like absolute lions. As you can see, Guesty just able to get more speed coming out of that corner, using all the curves on the outside. He's having a look at Perchon. Is he going to have a look coming down to the next left-hander? He hasn't decreased the gap much, but is he able to make any headway? He gets a better exit. He's having a look at the back of Perchon. Is Perchon thinking of going defensive? No, he doesn't. Coming up with a little kink on that left-hand side. Trying to get that one right, and there we go. Perchon now defending on the inside, coming up to the corkscrew, but he's just got that little bit more speed and braking early for the corkscrew, and then coming down. They are catching Mrs. Guesty, and there he has a look. He's having a look on the outside, but he can't find the grip to make it maintain as Perchon stays on the inside, defending well. As you can see, he swings far out to give himself as much entry as he possibly can into this corner. And he's now having a look on the outside of the corner. Yet again, Perchon in defence mode. But how long is he going to be able to defend against Guesty? And it looks like, is the deal done? There he is, going side by side. No, Perchon just has that little bit of a lead. It's less than a car length as they're coming up near enough side by side up to the first corner. Perchon on the inside, and you see Gaston going way out on the outside to give himself as much advantage as he can. And that's the difference that it can make. He's now tight up behind the exhaust of Perchon, being able to smell what octane he's actually using. Just come through, the gap is less than a car length. You can just tell he's just lining up Perchon, waiting for the smallest opening that he needs to be able to give it out. It's pulled on a little bit, gap a little bit. Perchon lives to fight another day, but Guesty has a championship to think about, and he'll be wanting to get as many points as he can. This is not a race for him. Maybe race 2 will give him better results at the end of the day. Flick of the dust on the outside, and Melvin's Perchon made a mistake because Guesty goes round the outside, and that's done and dusted. And now we're on the final lap. I do apologise, I've only just noticed, and Big Dan comes through in 3rd. Well done, mate. Bazza gets through in 4th. I didn't even realise the time, and we were having so much fun watching those 3 fight. That was incredible. Renault comes home in 5th. That's going to be a good haul for points in his championship. Well done, Renault. And there's somebody else crossing the line. I don't know who it is. It might be Pat. Yes, it is Pat. Well done, mate. Still 10th, still points at the end of the day, but there's more people crossing, is it? Yes, it is. Mrs. Guesty's going to come through in 6th. That's 1 up for the husband, although I've lost count by now. Mrs. Guesty gets 6th and Guesty gets 7th. And Perchon comes home in 8th, but so far, no, it's Silver Star. Silver Star's now coming home in 9th. That's still a little bit more points tally to your championship battle with your guys around you. 9th place, well done. And then we finally get... it's Racer Brown. He comes through. He's a dropped Homesick Alien. Maybe it was a small mistake, I don't know, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Racer Brown takes the win for race 1. And here comes Homesick Alien. You'll still be happy with 2nd place. That's not much of a drop to Racer Brown. And there we go. Oh, wrong way. So there we go. Racer Brown, your winner for race 1. And he's definitely going to be happy with that result, getting 1 up on his rivals, but is he able to take it into race 2? Homesick Alien in 2nd, he'll be pleased with that one. That's less, maybe a point or 2 has dropped between himself and Racer Brown, but any gap that he can minimise between himself and his rivals, that's going to be absolutely brilliant. That title is real. That championship battle is really starting to heat up now. We're only in race 3. Big Dan coming home in 3rd. Well done, mate, taking the last spot. There wasn't much between himself and Bazza, who these two are having their own little championship battle. That's really going to be heating up. These two good mates off track as well, so they work together. They really know how each other work. That's going to be heating up. Lovely. Renault in 5th, all a bit in no man's land, but it's still 5th at the end of the day. That's a cracking result for Renault, really, in his championship fight against Bunny. So, and with Bunny not here, he'll be looking to capitalise on that one. Mrs. Guesty comes home in 6th. What a battle that she's been having behind her. She's been defending well. She's done well to get 6th. Guesty, poor Guesty. He's not had the best race so far in race 1, down in 7th. That's his championship leading grip gone. So race 2, he'll have to pump out the performance of his life to really keep him in that championship battle. Perchon in 8th as well. How many times has he seen Guesty drop behind and go in front, then drop behind and go in front, but he's still 8th at the end. He did really well at the dying end of the race to defend against Guesty as well. So you credit there, mate, and it's still 8th place, so that's still a haul of points. Silver Star as well in 9th. That's going to be good points for him. And Pat as well, probably one to forget for him as well. Miles behind everybody else, but not quite sure what has happened there, but I'm sure it'll be all well uncovered, as we don't know. So, wow. Action up and down. That's good. Quite a fun race. Let's have a look, and we'll skip to the homesick and let him cross the line so he can officially claim his 2nd place there. Beautifully done. Now, shall we have a look at race 2, shall we, and see how that pans out? And we have to do the whole thing again, and I don't like people telling to not look, because it's like, oh, don't look because you'll spoil it for yourself. But you know what it's like. You know when they say, kids, right, don't do this. What do you do? Oh, why? So you look anyway. So, we'll just let that heat up a little bit there. And I'm going to have some liquid refreshment before we start the next race. So, here we go. So, don't look, everybody. Don't you look. Don't look. Stop it. There we go. We're good. Even I didn't see it result then. So, We'll just pause it just there, and we'll flick that up. And the liquid refreshment. There we go. Oh, God. Excuse me. Oh, there we go. Oof. You can tell I'm not used to something like this. Right, so we will have a quick flick through. So, we've Pat on pole in the racing softs. We also have Silver Star as well on the mediums. So, yeah, because he used the softs in the first race. Perch on the softs. Guesty on the softs. Mrs. Guesty on the softs. Redo on the softs. Bazza on the mediums. Dan on the mediums. And Homesick Alien has gone for the mediums again, and so has Racer Brown. So Racer Brown and Homesick Alien not wishing to use the soft tyres, in which I'm pretty sure that you don't have to use the softs, you just have to use the mediums. So this is obviously a strategy for the two Titans not wanting to give each other the tiniest little bit of leg room to really help them out in their fight. And Bazza Guesty is really going to have a fight on his hands in order to keep his championship hopes alive. So let's already put this one to bed. So we line them up. There's 3 lights on 4 and 5 in the dark at Laguna Seca. And here we go. And Pat looks like he's just managed to get a better start than Silver Star as they come up to the first corner. Pat swung round to defend the inside already. Silver Star having a look on the inside. Is he going to have a look at Pat? No, he backs it off a little bit, and here comes Guesty already. Guesty wanted to make up for race 1, and whoa, there's a little bit of clattering. Calm down, chaps, we've only just started. So Guesty already looking like he means business. Really wants to put the agony of race 1 behind him. You can see Racer Brown and Homesick have already made up a little bit of ground. But Reno up in the second. Guesty's now having a look around the outside in the soft tyres. So, excuse me, Guesty not throwing caution to the wind. He's having a look on the inside, coming through to a little left-hand kink before the corkscrew. Tucks back in, can't quite get the speed over it. The Silver Star in 4th. He's been hounded by the Belgian Bullet Bazza. He's got Perch on behind him. There's Homesick Alien in 7th and Guesty in 8th. Oh, Mrs. Guesty has dropped, as well as Big Dan. They were in that order when they started, but it's just these two, because Big Dan was in 3rd, so it's Mrs. Guesty that's dropped a little bit, but Racer Brown and Homesick Alien already making waves in wanting to get as maximum points as possible. Racer Brown having a look on Perch, wanting to go and look on the inside. He thinks twice about it, not wanting to make silly mistakes. Meanwhile, at the front, it's now Reader that has the lead. So maybe it was a small mistake on Pat, or whether it was a clean overtake, I'm not 100% sure, but Redo now has the lead with Guesty in 2nd, but he'll have to go around the outside as Pat comes barreling in, just misses the braking point a little bit, but doesn't work out in his advantage, so Guesty maintains 2nd place. Wow, I'm surprising. Done very well to avoid one another there, but Guesty will be putting his foot down. He'll be wanting to make up for lost ground for race 1. He goes wide a little bit there, but it's not a problem there. We've still got Bazza and Homesick in 5th, as well as Racer Brown. Somebody's oh no, it's Silver Star. He must have lost the back end. He's got some damage on his rear bumper and rear left suspension. Poor Silver Star. He was doing quite well to start with, but maybe it was a small coming together, or whether he lost the back end, I don't know. But now he's starting to lose track of everybody, and oh, poor Silver Star, he must be kicking himself. So Guesty and Reno now duking it out for the lead of this race. As here we go, Guesty's got the inside line. Is he going to make easy peasy for it? No, he doesn't. Reno is fighting it on the outside, who now has the inside, but is Guesty going to do the old switcheroo? Didn't get that much going to exit, but Reno has the inside. I see sparks flying up in the background, beautiful. And oh, Reno went wide a little bit to calibrate for it, and here comes Guesty, who got a better exit out of the corner, going through side by side through the start finish as Guesty gets the fastest lap with a 29.4. You know, it is only Lap 2, so let's see that goes out. Guesty takes the wider entry into that, but Renault has the inside. So a little wiggle at the back end. Oh no, Guesty's gone wide a little bit. Was that shove maybe? Was that shove or was it just forced wide? But Guesty collects himself very well. Now staring down the back end of Renault. We'll come back that into a minute. And Bazza's gone wide, and there goes Racer Brown and Homesick Alien. These two making up ground early doors. Only lap 3. And the guys on the back row are already on 3rd and 4th as Homesick Alien manages to squeeze through on Bazza coming through that corner, but Racer Brown is now on the inside coming into the little kink. And who's going to back off? It's Bazza. He thinks better of it. He knows this isn't his fight today. This fight is with Big Dan, who is in 7th. Probably be looking at getting a little bit of a tow from Racer Brown as well to just help him out, get some pace, because he's got Mrs. Guesty right up his jacksie. She's now smelling his octane, with Big Dan not that far behind him as well. So these three are duking it out in the middle of the table with Perch on as well. I think there is a bit of a gap between them personally, although I don't remember because I've got the memory of a dead fish. I'll have to have a look at that pack in 9th as well. You can still see them in view, and Silverstar is catching them up a little bit. As long as he keeps his head down, he'll be able to catch him up. But meanwhile, we'll stick with the front for a wee moment as Reader is able to hold off Guesty, but can Guesty make some magic and able to make a gap so he can squeeze through and get into the lead, because Homesick and Racer Brown will not be that far behind him, and he doesn't want them. He doesn't want to be fighting them. He wants to have a bit of space between them so he can get on and get it. And he's having a look around the outside, and Guesty has got the lead coming up into the left-hander, and he secures it. So Guesty takes the lead of race 2 of round 3, and now he'll be wanting to make headway so he can get clear of Racer Brown. And Homesick Alien went wide a little bit there. As you can see, the gap is increasing at the moment. So these two, Racer Brown and Homesick Alien, will be wanting to get their feet down now so that they can minimise the gap between themselves and Guesty, because that's who they're fighting with today. They might not even be fighting much themselves at the moment. They'll just be wanting to make up ground a little bit so they can take the fight to Guesty. So Guesty will be wanting to run and hide away from these two. We've got Bazza as well. He's managed to pull away from Big Dan a little bit. He's pulled away, so that will be good for him. And Big Dan has just had a look at Mrs. Guesty, and he has gotten through. So now he's got his target acquired of Bazza in front of him. Mrs. Guesty will probably get in a nice big toe from Big Dan as well to help her out in her fight with Perch on. She was ahead of him in race 1. She hadn't thought about the inside then, but thought better of it. And decides, no, I'm just going to stick behind you for a little bit at the moment. I get a little bit of a nice toe. Maybe it might help me out at the moment. But Big Dan at the moment will be concentrating on Bazza. That's who he's scrapping with today. Let's have a look further down. We've got Perch on. He's got a little bit of space between himself, Mrs. Guesty, and Pat. And Silverstar as well. He must... Oh, no. Just going wide a little bit there. He was catching them up, but he's just gone wide a little bit. He might have gone wide on a little corner as well, because he wasn't that far behind Pat. So poor Silverstar not having the best race too. But meanwhile, the front, Guesty has managed to hold on to the lead so far. He's pulled out a little bit of a lead of Redo, but he's still keeping touch with him. He's still sticking behind him. He's using most of the track as he can. He'll be getting a nice toe off him. This will be helping him out. But you just know that Homesick and Racer Brown will eventually catch him up at some point, in which I don't think Redo will fight it really at the end of the day. That isn't his fight. It's not his fight between these two titans just crossing the line now. Guesty having the fastest lap with a 28.0, with Homesick Alien with a 28.8 and a 28.9 with Racer Brown. But let's not forget, these two are on the mediums and Guesty is on the soft, so that is another peril for Guesty, as he does have the soft tyres on, so they're going to wear out fairly quickly. So he'll be wanting to make up a lot of space between himself and Homesick Alien before they can take advantage of the tyre wear. Bazza's just going wide a little bit there as well. He should be going, whoa, a bit rough, but he managed to collect himself and keep it pointing in the right direction. But he's now got Big Dan tight up his jackson. He's bringing along Mrs. Guesty. So we now have a three-way fight for 5th place, and as we see, we've got Bazza and Pat and Perch on. Oh dear. Now with Pat and Perch on having their own little battle behind them, and there's Bazza being overtaken by Big Dan. So Big Dan moves up into 5th. That's going to help him out. And they're both on the mediums as well, so there's no tyre advantage here. And now Mrs. Guesty's having a look at Bazza. Can't quite make it there. Is she going to have a look in the final corner? And there's somebody that's gone wide at the back there. Who is it? Oh, it's Pat, unfortunately. Oh dear, poor Pat. He's going to have to go. Oh, Clubber in the corner there, holding him off a little bit. That means that Silver Star will probably have a playmate soon. So that will be keeping him occupied. Let's keep concentrating on the front. So Guesty has extended his lead over Rito. This is exactly what he needs to help him out. And Rito's on the softs as well, so his tyres will wear off quicker than Homesick and Racer Brown's. But is this now a case of is Rito going to fight for that 2nd place? We rarely see Rito on the podium, so he may not give it up as easily as we think he might. But we're just coming up to 20 minutes left on the clock, so he might not be wanting to fight it out. May just let the 2 powerhouses through and let them get on with it. Maybe snatch a little bit of a toe to help him out. They could even help him out with Guesty at the front, but Guesty won't be giving up that place very easily. Meanwhile, these two have stuck so close together so far in this first 10 minutes of the races. These two have been inseparable the entire time. Homesick doing a 29.0 on the last lap and Racer Brown doing a 28.8, so there's only 2 tenths between it. That is really not a lot at all. It tells you the kind of skill level these two have is absolutely monumental. As you can see, they've caught up Rito. Did Rito make a mistake at all because the gap wasn't like that, or is that just the sheer pace of these two? So we're going to have a good scrap at 2nd place at the moment, and is my words going to come true for once? Is Rito going to fight this, or is he just going to let them go because this isn't his fight? Taking the double apex really nicely, slips on wide. He's not giving them much room. He's going to have to make Homesick really do the work to catch him up. But as we say, catching is one thing, overtaking is another. As we're just on ride on board with Homesick Alien currently getting purples through the first sector, goes wide a little bit. See, he's just lost a little bit of ground between Rito, but he's lost a little bit of Homesick Alien as well. Oh, Rito caught the inside sausage. Is this all that Homesick needs? That's the only invitation he needs as he just comes through. And there we go. Homesick Alien up to 2nd and is now on his charge for Rito. Now it's going to be Racer Brown's turn. This is the Gazelle fed to the Lions. Poor Rito. Didn't even get much chance to fight for that, but is Rito going to fight back Homesick Alien because he is on the softs? He has got a better grip than these two. But he'll be wearing out his tyres the more he fights. He'll need his tyres to last for as long as possible. His fight earlier on. Racer Brown just having a look on the outside there, but is this where Racer Brown strikes? No, it isn't. He stays tucked in. May take advantage of it coming up to the first corner. So Big Dan in the background, who has managed to shake Mrs. Guesty, and Mrs. Guesty has got in front of Bazza. We'll come to that in a minute as we're coming up to the first corner. Racer Brown has got the overspeed he needs. Has a look on the inside, thinks better of it and tucks back in. And there we go. He doesn't want to stay long behind Rito because otherwise he's going to end up losing Homesick Alien, and that's the last thing he needs. This is everything that Guesty hopes for as well. He's probably hoping that these three get themselves into a good scrap so that he can just run and hide for when his soft tyres runs out. You see Homesick Alien just pulling a little bit of a gap between himself and Rito now. It's just a question of when Racer Brown is going to pull the trigger. We'll come back to that in a minute. So far, Big Dan got a nice comfortable space in front and behind him, but he caught the sausage drifting out a little bit. We don't need drifting in. We've got a yellow flag. Who is it? Oh, it's Guesty. Oh no, this is the last thing that Guesty needed. Oh, poor Guesty had such a comfortable lead and now just loses the back end a little bit. He's got damage on the front and the back. And this has just gone even worse for Guesty, who does have the fastest lap at the moment, so that will be an extra point to him as long as it stays this way, which I have a feeling it would. I don't think people are going to get the fastest lap unless they come in for fresh tyres, but that is the last thing Guesty needs, and he's probably looking forward to just writing this round off, because it's just all gone to the pot with Guesty. So Big Dan's still got a bit of a comfortable gap in front and behind him. Mrs. Guesty in 6th with Bazza in 7th. These two are stuck close, and we've got another yellow flag. Who is it this time? Oh no, it's poor Renault. Oh dear Lord, he's got damage at the front, sir. It seems like a really weird place to have an off there. Maybe he just caught the dirt coming down onto the braking area. I'm not 100% sure. That's quite a strange one. I'm actually sorry, Renault. I don't really normally like doing this, but I am a bit curious. So let's have a look. He was just on the inside. He comes on the inside. Oh, whoa. Oh dear. He just went straight off. Mind you, he's braking and accelerating at the same time, so maybe it was a technical issue. It could be a technical issue. Sorry, Renault. I normally don't like doing that, but it just seemed a really strange place to have an off. Never mind, moving on. So that means that Hosick takes the lead of this race, which means if everything stays as it is now between himself and Racer Brown, that is the equilibrium kicking in, because they haven't gained nor have they lost ground to one another, but this is all they need in their fight with Guesty, who is in 3rd, and he must be absolutely kicking himself and be wanting to write this one off and just say it was a bad day at the office. But if he maintains 3rd, that won't be much. He won't lose much ground to these two. Unfortunately, the first race will probably be the biggest dent to his championship fight with these two, but maybe another day he'll come back stronger and really put these two into a different dimension with his pure pace. Meanwhile, Big Dan has still got a comfortable gap between himself, with Renault now settling in 5th, but he's got friends behind him of Mrs. Guesty and Bazza, who is still tight up behind Mrs. Guesty. And just having a look on the outside, is he able to get the better exit? He goes out wide, he's maintained more speed, but he just can't seem to find the pace. As Mrs. Guesty goes onto the inside, she'll be going to defend this inside corner, sticking that Megane tightly on the inside as if it were made of glue, and there we go. Is she going to hold it off? And Bass just having a look on the outside, thinks better of it, tucks back in, ready to fight another day. Perch on in 8th as well. He's got a comfortable gap behind him between himself and Silverstar, who probably not liking this race as much, but let's have a look at the time. Yeah, he made a little bit of a mistake that time, but look at the consistency in his laps. It's pretty decent. And Pat has gone in. He's thought, right, well, I'm last already, so I might as well just put some fresh softs on. I can see somebody splinter off. It's Racer Brown. Oh, poor Racer Brown. Small mistake coming out of the kink. It is that treacherous, especially in these Renault Meganes. And here comes Big Dan. So that means that Jose Alien will now extend it, and this is probably what he needs for his championship fight. Because if it stays like it is now, we're halfway up, we're over halfway now. So if Racer Brown gets 3rd, and Big Dan's having a look on the outside, and he's managed to stick it too, and he's got the inside coming up to the corner, but he tucks back in, thinks better of it, and maybe he just wants to take this nice and steady. He doesn't want to take out somebody he's not really fighting with, or maybe he's just wanting to conserve his tyres a little bit more by not going into attack mode. But this is not what Racer Brown needs. There is quite a gap between himself and Guesty now, so it's all for these two to throw away now. But we must remember that Guesty is on the soft tyres. Those tyres are going to wear off fairly quickly, but the question is how long can Guesty keep those tyres in the best condition he can with the tyre wear that we have until Racer Brown comes back in. He's still got plenty of meat left on those mediums, but he'll have to work it to its full advantage now, otherwise it's going to be trouble for the Guesty. And you can see there's Pat there, he's getting the blue flags. He's been lapped already by Guesty and Homesick Alien, so probably won't be wanting to make a mistake here, because this is a fight for the podium. He's not got Big Dan that far behind him, and yeah, he's waiting for the right move to come through. And then you can see there's Renault not that far behind Big Dan either, so could have a potential three-way fight for third place, which that's definitely going to be really interesting to see. Racer Brown hasn't quite cleared Pat yet. He's probably, there we go, we've seen Pat pulled over, he's letting everybody through. Smart move, not getting mixed in with that. Doesn't want any piece of that. Beautiful to see. So we'll have a quick look down. As you can see, I guess he hasn't made much headroom with Homesick Alien, and those tyres are starting to fade now. They're in the worst part of their life. I don't think Guesty is going to make much headroom now. He just has to hope and pray that Racer Brown doesn't catch him with one little tyre wear he has left in the next 12 minutes. Racer Brown will be putting his pedal to the absolute floor, wanting to catch up Guesty. I have a good feeling he probably will come near the end of the race, so that is one fight we'll definitely have to keep an eye on at the end, later stages of this race. Big Dan on fourth, he's going to be happy with this, with Renault not that far behind him. Bass's not that far behind him either, so Big Dan can't afford to be making too many mistakes. Touch wood. I have a seat next to me, it's a wooden as well, so hopefully I should actually lean on this to prevent any sort of cursing happening, shouldn't I? So Big Dan can't be making mistakes. He's got a championship. This fourth will be doing his championship fight. No end with Renault as well in fifth. He's done quite well in this round so far. He'll be taking home a good haul of points. That'll be doing his championship wonders. He's having a look at Big Dan. He's going round the outside. Big Dan having to defend, and yeah, Big Dan manages to squeeze it through, but Renault does get the better exit, and can't quite see him. Let's have a look. There they are. They're side by side going up to the first corner. So now it's going to be a question of who's going to bite the bullet first and break, and it's Big Dan, but he just lets it off a little bit, and there we go. Oh dear, there's a little clout there, no issue there, as he doesn't make up, he doesn't gain any place, but he doesn't lose it either. So Renault now settles back in, looking for another opportunity for him to go free. You can see him just wiggling left and right, looking for the smallest little bit of an inkling in a chink in the rich energy Renault armour. He can't seem to find a way at the moment. Keep an eye on this one as well, because this seems to be a good scrap at the moment. This is fairly, well, I mean, who doesn't love a good scrap after all? And this is for fourth. I love it when guys are fighting for every single spot. It's amazing. Absolutely love it. So as they come up to the corkscrew, comes around the outside, is Big Dan going to defend? No, they both went onto the inside, all fair is square. And oh no, Renault, the back end kicked out when he least needed it. Where's Mrs. Guesty? Is she going to take advantage of it? Is Renault going to get going in time? He's got going, but the tyres are dirty. He's got front end damage. Oh, poor Renault, he was having a good scrap there, and now Mrs. Guesty's coming along now. Oh dear, he must be absolutely kicking himself, but that is the treachery of the corkscrew. You've got to tackle it with such poise that the back end doesn't kick out, and the corkscrew claiming another victim in Renault today. Oh, now we've got Renault versus Mrs. Guesty for fifth place, and Dan will be wanting to look and hide at the moment as Perchon in seventh. We've got Bazza in eighth. He must have made a few mistakes in. Oh, let's have a look in. Oh, I'm not quite sure actually. 135 on lap 11 or 139 in lap 13. So might have just been a few mistakes from Bazza. So that's not going to be wanting what he needs in his fight with Big Dan for their little scrap of the championship. Silver Star as well in no man's land at the moment, but just pulling his head down. Just using this as a good practice session, and 133.1. It's not that bad. And we've got Pat as well. Pat on the softs, he's also in no man's land. He's been lapped by the majority of the front runners. Speaking of the front runners, we've got Homesick Alien. Let's have a look at these two absolute titans. Homesick Alien has probably used about 60% of his front right, and Guesty, who is on the softs, has used up a good chunk of his front right, so that front right is now in its dying days, and is this where Racer Brown takes advantage of the destroyed tyre of Guesty? Let's have a look. Guesty did a 1:33 the previous lap, with Racer Brown doing a 28.8, so far Racer Brown a second quicker Guesty, so he's going to be on him in a couple of minutes time, but he's only got a couple of minutes time. We've only got 7 minutes left, so Racer Brown will have to put his foot down to really catch up with second place. Big Dan as well in fourth. He's doing quite well. The front right medium, heavily worn, but he's got comfortable gaps in front and behind him, so it's just a case of keeping it pointing in the right direction now. Rido as well, he's managed to drop Mrs. Guesty by a small amount, so he's making full advantage of those racing softs. But Mrs. Guesty does have the softs on as well, but she has looked after him a little bit more, so she's still got plenty of grip left on those softs, especially the front right being the punish maker, being tortured the most in this race. So she's done well to look after a set of softs with this long in the race and still have quite a good chunk of meat on it. We've got more than Rido. There's Perch on as well. He's in his, a world in his own, and then there's Bazza not that far behind him. So is Bazza going to try and make damage limitation out of this with his fight with Big Dan? Silver Star a world in his own, and there's Pat, who literally stuck in the middle of the lion's den. Oh, back end kicked out a little bit, but managed to maintain control. Well done, Pat. So far, Guesty, Homesick Alien has dropped Guesty now. That front right completely cut, so it's all a case of, with just 5.5 minutes left, is Guesty able to keep it on the straight and narrow long enough to keep second place and keep Racer Brown behind him, who, even though he is on a worn set of mediums, still got plenty of meat left on it, and he's definitely faster. A 29.0 and a 34. So Racer Brown does have more pace in that car, but can he catch up with just 5 minutes remaining? Still Big Dan in fourth, and then we've got Rido, who's still being hounded by Mrs. Guesty. This is the fight on the track at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on them for a time being, unless something else pops up. It's these two. We've got Perch on and Bazza, so we've got two fights in the middle of the pack at the moment, with Rido and Guesty, Mrs. Guesty should I say, fighting it out for fifth place. Perch on and Bazza scrapping it out for seventh. It's all a case of who's able to keep the composure when the pressure is piled on. Is Rido going to be able to handle all the pressure that Mrs. Guesty is pushing out? Can she find a way through? She's got the better tyre wear. It's all a case of just biding your time, striking at the right time. Oh no, I thought there was somebody else. It's probably Pat, to be fair. Mrs. Guesty now having a look on the inside. Perchon goes to defend, but Mrs. Guesty just sits in the middle of the track. It's obviously it is Pat up there. She seems quite comfortable on the track, waiting for the right moment just to strike and release the Cobra into the nick of Rido, take fifth place away from him. Meanwhile, Perchon as well is able to hold off Bazza on the medium, so Perchon does have the softer compound but the bigger wear. He hasn't used just as much as Bazza has with the medium, so he's still got plenty of meat left on those tyres. A respectable 30.0 from Perchon on the sauce, with Bazza on a 29.6, so there's not a lot between the pair of them at all. And I have noticed that Racer Brown has got in front of Guesty. Has Guesty dropped it again? I have a feeling he has, because Big Dan wasn't anywhere near the back of him. Is that the tyre issue? Again, poor Guesty. Poor Guesty. He's going to be looking to bin this one, if this hasn't been the round for him. Poor Guesty. He must be absolutely knackering himself. And we do have chat. It's Rido. Evening, mate. Hello, mate. How are you doing? It's been a long day, I'm not going to lie. I can easily watch the F1 in different time periods, but when it's at like stupid o'clock in the morning in my terms, aka 8 o'clock, it's a little bit out of my time period, so it's been a long day. But nevertheless, let's keep an eye on this battle at the moment, because this is a battle for the podium. Guesty really feeling the punishment. Yeah, as I said, Reno, it's been a long day, so just thought I'd get this out of the way and give you guys some evening entertainment. So far, Guesty is able to hold off Big Dan. This is for the last step of the podium. Is Guesty able to hold off long enough? There's 2 minutes left. Podium race as well, same results over and over again. I disagree with that. It's only first place that's the same results, but we don't talk about him. Ye who should not be mentioned. It's everywhere else that's different. It's everywhere else that I don't care who wins, because we all know who's going to win. It's the guys behind him that I'm more curious about. And as a McLaren fan, I'm pleased that Lando Norris got second today. But moving on, nobody wants to hear about F1. We hear about this. We want to hear about this good scrap here between Guesty and Guesty and Big Dan. See, Reno, you're putting me off. I'm not good with names to start with, so I can't blame you. Oh, Guesty, that back end is near enough, had enough. It wants to kick out. It really doesn't. We're in the last minute. Is Big Dan able to capitalise on the last minute? Oh, Big Dan squeezes wide. He doesn't want that because he'll lose. Guesty, his inside tyres now are going to be dirty. He's not going to have much grip, but he'll still have more grip. Then Guesty will have to come back to this in a minute, because we've got some guys that are going to cross the line fairly soon. I have no idea who they are, but I don't want to stick them away from this. Oh, we're going to have to, aren't we? Is it the leaders? No, it isn't. It is actually Silverstar. So Silverstar looks like he's going to be... No, we've still got some time left. Is Homesick Alien going to get another lap in? I think he's going to do. Yes, easily. He'll get there within 15 minutes as Silverstar moves over to the side. He doesn't want any form of peace, just giving an indication saying thank you, mate. So let's move down. Is Racer Brown going to get through? The timer has gone, and there we go. Oh, he managed to get through at the last second. So the guys that are going to finish first is for third, and look how tight it is. Oh no, is Guesty pushing wide? I don't know, we'll have to look at the stewards there, but for now, for the time being, Guesty comes home in third, Big Dan comes home in fourth, and that was Pat finishing in 10th. Let's quickly move down as it's Reno who's managed to hold off Mrs. Guesty. She comes home in 5th and 6th respectively, and then comes Perchon in 7th. That's another more whole points for him. That's fairly good. At the end of the day, here comes Bazza. Good race 1, a not so good race 2, but still going to get a good chunk of points at the end of this one. Bazza comes home in 8th. It's not Silverstar that's going to cross next. It's going to be our race winner, who has managed to drop Racer Brown, and it's another round of the Titans showing everybody how it's done. And this championship fight at the front is going to be an absolute cracker. You won't want to miss the rest of these races, because it looks like it could go down to the wire, and the smallest mistake is going to punish them, but it doesn't matter for the here and now as Homesick Alien takes the win. Silverstar comes home in 9th. That's still more points, and the last person to come through is Racer Brown. I nearly missed it. It's because people have been lapped and I keep flicking back and forth, but I did save it. I'm clever. I am the smart. SMRT. So, Homesick Alien comes through to take the win for race 2 of round 3. And as I've said before, this championship is really hitting the high Scoville levels now. We're going to be hitting Ghost Reaper peppers by the end of this championship. You won't want to miss that one. Racer Brown comes home in 2nd. He's the winner of race 1. So, it's status quo between Homesick and Racer Brown. There's no points gained, but no points lost. The biggest loss, however, will be Guesty. He does come home in 3rd, so he's managed to limit the damage to some extent, but race 1 is going to be an absolute battering. That's probably a better word. An absolute battering for his championship hopes. And he'll be looking to put this one to bed and get it all over and done with. Big Dan coming home in 4th. That's good haul of points. He was down to the wire for the last part of the podium, and he'll be pleased with that result. Renault comes home in 5th. It's another good result for Renault. It's been a fairly good round for him, so he'll be wanting to keep his head high on that one. Mrs. Guesty as well. She comes home in 6th. That's a good haul of points for her. She should be pleased with herself with the results from this one. So I would be if I were you, love. Perchon comes home in 7th. Another great result for him. Bazza in 8th. You'd think he might be a little bit higher. He might be a bit disappointed with the results, but it's still going to be points at the end of the day. Same with Silver Star. He might be happy with this. I'm not 100% sure, but in 9th, you're still going to get some points at the end of the day, mate. That's what matters, as well as Pat as well. He did pit, though, so wasn't able to make much headway with his fresher tyres. And there we go. Round 3. And this championship, it's going to be an absolute belter. It's going to be an absolute classic by the end of it. I can tell you that now. And there we go. That's this weekend done, isn't it? It's coming up to 9 o'clock now. And I've still got about another 10 hours to go for myself. So, like I said, it's going to be a long day for me. And a long night. So what have we got coming up next week? Well, next week I will be bringing you round, I think it's round 5. I hope it's round 5. I'm going to have a quick look at the calendar. Where are we? I don't know why I'm looking at it. Oh, no, because we did Suzuka, didn't we? Oh, no. Is it Lake Louise? Oh, I'm looking forward to that. I am looking forward to that. Lake Louise in the snow. Oh, that's going to be an absolute cracker. I am so down for that one. I am so down for that. So yes, next week I will be bringing you, rather excitingly, I'm not going to lie, round 5 of the WRX Challenge. It's at Lake Louise. It's Canada. It is snow. Oh, that is going to be absolutely cracker. I'm actually looking forward to that. I'm really going to be excited for that one. And then, hopefully as well, roughly around about the same time next week, I will be bringing you round 4 of the Renault Meganes. As I've said before, this is really heating up and you really won't want to miss it. And there we go. Another weekend bites the dust. Another weekend of fun, enjoyment and excitement, as long as you stayed away from the typical F1 result. But there we go. So, yes. So, I'm going to see if I can try and execute it properly this time. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and get the bell on for the Virtual Racers Club so you never miss a single bit of action. You won't want to miss this one because this is turning out to be an absolute beauty. And with that, I will leave you at that. So, in my final words of this relatively nice weekend in my part of the world, I will say I have been your broadcaster and commentator, insert hilarious name here, and I will see you all next week. And it's in the snow!